Welcome to this series of short videos where I explain the theory underpinning deep brain reorienting. In this video, we are tracking the neurophenomenology of shock, the hypothesized brain areas involved in different types of shock responses. When we are processing trauma in DBR, we can sometimes see evidence of shock in the body. A recoil of the head, rigid shoulders or bracing, a gasp of breath, teeth chattering, shaking and trembling, and other bodily movements, including spasming. But these are not felt sensations of shock that we're looking for. It is often those evanescent, fleeting, and unconscious sensations at the core of shock that we're identifying and being with. Through careful study, slowing down shock moments in DBR, Frank has identified a number of pre-emotional shock sensations and types of shock. A blow to the chest, sinking sensations, a draining of the arms, sensations in the eyes, shivers, chills, or shudders, waves of heat or cold, sensations in the pelvic floor, and an emptying or a hollowing. Not an exhaustive list of sensations, but for many of us trained in DBR, we're familiar with these as impact shock, with experiences of sudden, unexpected events, including attachment wounding, thought to have originally arisen from activation of the locus coeruleus and its global effects across the brain. And Frank has identified another constellation as part of an implosive shock response, with sensations mainly inside the head, pains and pressures, a band of tension around the head, sensations in the ears, including pain and pressure, with little else happening in the body, although there can be states of coldness that are difficult to warm from. Different from the origins of impact shock, implosive shock may be rooted in activation of the deeper giant cell nucleus, responding to pervasive, unmet, primordial needs for warmth, touch, and nourishment. So the giant cells may be activated by this type of prolonged neglect. And then there are the vestibular effects of shock, a sense of being lost in space, off balance, ocular effects such as involuntary movements of the eyes, spinning and dizziness, sensations of floating and falling. And these may also have arisen from sudden traumatic events. There's a good chapter on the vestibular system in Ruth Lanius and colleagues' recent book, Sensory Pathways to Healing from Trauma. And they point to the neurons in the deep survival brain responsible for postural control and balance. In DBR processing, we might also encounter states of disgust and activation of the gut. This type of shock is a mixture of extreme threat and revulsion. This shock and horror likely involves the deep brain nucleus solitary tract, which registers activations at the level of the gut. The parabrachial nucleus integrates and assigns negative valence and aversion. The area postrema can induce vomiting, and of course the periaqueductal gray for the emotional responses of fear and terror. And finally, those symptoms that can be more difficult to easily identify as shock-based effects, pains in the body of unknown origin, other psychosomatic symptoms which may or may not have a clear relationship with the origin trauma, functional loss, for example, of a limb, paralysis or weakness in parts of the body, and psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. So somehow the shock and underlying emotional pain has become somatized in the body. The locus coeruleus shock center can activate the primary somatosensory cortex that can cause sensations felt as if they are coming from the body. So this is one potential pathway. We don't yet know what the mechanisms would be linking shock with pro-inflammatory responses, but it likely involves brainstem structures.